So today I wanted to talk about something that is very important, and it is reference points, both in life and both are in our spiritual path and spiritual practices. And the reason why I wanted to talk about that is because for the last 8 or 9 months, I've delved deeper into my meditation practice, which I have done over the last few years. And there was a point where I would go deeper and deeper after a month of daily practice, and I would get into a very good place and experience the joy that deep meditation brings. But at some point, I would sort of hit a bit of a resistance, and I would get back out of it, and I would try again and again. And I tried it two times really after a few months, and I realized that there was something there. So I didn't want to really go into it again, practice again for a couple of months and then really get out of it. So I went to a meditation retreat 2 weeks ago, and it was quite interesting. So after about a couple of days, the person asked me, "How was your meditation?" And I said, "Well, it's pretty good, but today was good, but it was a bit of kind of flat actually." And she just said right away, "Yep, that's resistance. There's a part of you that doesn't want to go back, doesn't want to go forward. So you have something from your past that is preventing you to move forward. So you really need to look into it." And I was very surprised because that I would have never thought that was the case, but she saw it right through it. And the reason for it is that she experienced that 50 years ago when she started practicing. So I have been working on trauma for the last 2 years. That's complex trauma, and I have cleared a lot of stuff. So after she said that, for the week that I was in the retreat, and then another 10 days after, I really delved deep into it. Journaling, practicing the felt sense, and all those things. And one of the issues that seems to be coming up is a point of reference points. So that's something I wanted to talk to you about today. Basically, as you know, reference points is for most of us the way we interpret reality and the things that happen to us or the things that we do. And that reference points is ingrained in us quite often as a child, during our childhood, early years. And it can be impacted by a number of different things: upbringing, difficult childhood, good childhood, and our life is made of different chapters really. So what is important is that when we finish one chapter, one episode of life, that we move on to the next. And sometimes having that reference point really prevents us from moving on to the next chapter. And this reference point is different than limiting beliefs, because limited beliefs excludes the know-how and the technicality of things such as meditation. So it's a little bit different. You can do affirmations all day, all night, till kingdom come. But if the reference point is still the same, you most likely won't go anywhere in that aspect of that practice. So one of the things that came up, a lot of things have come up the last 2 years working with this trauma. It's like going down a rabbit hole, and it's been amazing, very freeing. And complex trauma does not have to include violence. That's a misconception. You can be from a good family, wealthy family, and still have things such as abandonment issues, being ostracized for your background, anything like that can cause trauma. Even with money, many of us have trauma regarding money. But the point is that we have to be very careful with our reference points. It's very important. When you build a house, there are many things that are important, but anybody who had to fix a house will tell you, any carpenter, any home builder, that the foundation is the most important part of a house. You don't see it, you don't work on it after you build it, but it literally is the foundation of a house. And if you ever had to fix a foundation, it's the most difficult and most costly of all the other repairs. So we have to be attuned in our daily life through mindfulness, by being aware, by journaling, whatever your practice may be, to see what our reference points are, what our foundations are. And they might be good, they might not be good. But the stickiness I had about my practice is that the reference point of past, of a couple of years of my life, were holding me back, where I was struggling in life, both in my practices, for a number of reasons. And this is fine, this is what life is. Those years were also very rewarding. But we have to be aware what our reference point is. And what I think was happening to me, I was getting deeper and deeper into this meditation. It took years and many months to practice and build up to. And then there was a part of me that would say, yeah, no, I'm not going further. What's the point? It's not going to work out at the end anyways. Because many years ago, I did not have the tools to proceed further and free myself. And there were also different deep-seated subconscious traumas that were holding me back. Nothing really bad, but just difficult life experiences that were sort of asserting their negativity up in my subconscious mind, really. So the point is that reference points can be difficult to let go of. If you had a bad childhood, for example, that reference point may still be in you, seeing life a certain way. Maybe you think that I'm not worthy enough. Maybe you think that nobody will ever love me in a romantic relationship or otherwise. Those reference points stay with us and they're very difficult to discern. And the other point I wanted to make is that reference points are difficult to let go of, even though when you become aware of it. And the reason for that is it's a very secure place. We don't want to let go of that reference points that we have about life, about ourselves, about others, and so on and so forth. And recently, while I was away on a retreat, I got an email. One of my coworkers had passed away. We were not working on the same project all the time, but we were hired the same day, went to the same orientation. It was the guy sitting next to me. It was a tall, big British guy. And he passed away, and it was fairly young. I think it was in his 50s. And now this person's reference points came to mind while I was thinking about my own reference points. And he was a tall, big guy, very overweight, big heart, wonderful human being. And he was, when we got hired, we were both making good money. And he was making great money. He was clearing at least $10,000 a month US after taxes. And he was doing good. He was like, he had money, he had a nice truck, everything else. But his reference point was that he always wanted more. And when I talked to him 2-3 years ago, he said that even he had rented an apartment and he would rent out different rooms, even the solarium, and he was sleeping on the couch in the living room because he wanted to get the rent money, even though he was making amazing money. So that was his reference point, that never had enough, that he had always to make money, and he neglected everything else, including his health. He was very overweight, he had some health issues, and he did not address those. He never really felt rich. I, on the other hand, made a decision to work part-time, pursue different things, including my health. And while I'm not perfect, but I just tried to change my reference points and how to see life as a holistic life. Anyway, so he passed away, and it's very sad, and that's one of the examples of we have to change our reference points. And he was struggling with finding somebody. He was like lonely, and he asked me about relationship advice, and I told him, I said, like, look, you're a very lovable guy, any woman would love to have you as a friend and more. But he never really implemented it. At any rate, so when we become aware of those reference points, we have to change them. And they're sometimes difficult to change because quite often they kind of sometimes make who we are. If we are a victim of something, that's our reference points, that's a reference point. We are all victims of one thing or another. I have a good friend of mine, amazing guy, but he sends me these conspiracy theories, like email me all those things, because his reference point is, oh, someone is trying to get us, this and that. And I just tell him, look, life is amazing, life is great, there's so many things to do. And yesterday I went to the beach with a friend, and I was at the health food store picking up some snacks, and the lady asked me, how's your day going? I'm like, great, we're going to the lake, it's going to be amazing. She's like, oh no, I don't go to the lake because there is some sort of bacteria in the lake. I'm like, and I turn around and says, we have some of the best lakes in the world, some of the cleanest. You can actually see the fish swimming in it. So it's important, if you want to go ahead in life, if you want to go to the next chapter, if you want to close one chapter and open another one, which we always do, is to be aware of our reference points and change them. And the reason why we don't change them quite often, because they're a very secure place. It's a place that we know and feel comfortable. They gave us this quite often false sense of security, right? If you always felt that you're unworthy of XYZ, it is very scary to say, no, I'm worthy of it and I want to achieve it and I can achieve it. Well, so that's the point. Another example quite often with reference points that came to my mind is that sometimes when a young man hasn't had a girlfriend, it is funny because if they find somebody who's the girl that they really liked, maybe as good looking or better looking than them, it starts off amazing, but quite often it doesn't work out. And the reason for that is they do not have the right reference point of being with someone as attractive as they are right now. And they lose it, then they work on themselves, and then they find somebody else. So a lot of changing our references rests on being aware. A complex trauma, for example, is not really hard to overcome it, but you have to become aware of it. And once you become aware of it, it kind of unravels itself like a lie. It's like you realize that something you've been told all along is a lie, then you're very suspicious of it, and you're aware of it, and it sort of fades away. So yeah, we have to change our reference points and we have to start new ones. And the way we start with new ones is, first of all, realizing that we were told a lie about that reference points in the first place. So for me, that reference point was like, in my spiritual practice, I will not get anywhere anyways. Or it's like, or life is struggle, all those things. And we realized that no, that wasn't the case. That's not the case. Because we think back of other reference points that we have, and we create a new truth about ourselves, about what we're doing, about how we are, about whatever is a task ahead. So we start and initiate a new reference point, and we work on it, we work on it, we work on it, we journal about it, we're open to it. And then we realize that no, not everything is going to fall apart. No, not everything is going to fail that we're doing, but we're going to succeed. And those successes, those minutes, those small positive feedbacks, we cultivate again and 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 again, and that by itself becomes our new reference points. It's difficult. It's not easy. It's like losing weight. It's not easy to lose weight, but it can be done. That's all we need to know. So yeah, it is important to start new reference points, and that's something that I have been initiating for a while, and that's something that I have to follow up with. But those reference points are very, very, very important. You may call them something else. I don't know, whatever limiting beliefs, whatever it is, whatever suits you. But at the end of the day, we have to change those. And the other point that I wanted to mention is afterwards, we have to let go of those reference points. But we can't fight them. You don't fight those things. Whatever you fight, in our society, aggression is so cherished. Like we want to fight this, we want to fight that, we want to fight carbs, we want to fight sugar, we want to fight this and that. But that's the right way. My teacher used to say, you know, whatever you fight, sort of you strengthen it. And he had a very good quote that I really enjoyed and came to my mind, and it's that when you practice meditation, when a thought comes to you, you don't get angry at it. You don't get upset about it. You don't blame yourself for thinking. Just, he said literally, you know, you get that hug, you give it a big hug, and you send it away. So when we realize that those reference points we had in the past, they might have worked for us. Money might have been scarce. We might have felt unlovable. We might have thought that the practice that we had wasn't going anywhere, and that might have been true. I did not have the knowledge that I do now a number of years ago about different practices. I was not aware of complex trauma or other things that may affect my practice, but I do right now. So it is important not to fight whatever negativity we feel on the path. On the contrary, those are the things that help us. Those reference points might have helped us to survive in the past, right? So we want to be really cherishing them, expressing our gratitude towards them, and send them away. And I was mentioning to a friend of mine yesterday that meditation, and she knew that already, but meditation is not necessarily something positive. I think Chogyam Trungpa writes about that meditation is not really something that makes us feel good, right? Meditation is pure awareness and being aware of the present moment, or being aware of our breathing, or being aware of that space within us, whatever it may be. And we welcome everything and anything. We have this 360 degrees view and awareness, and whatever comes to our minds, we face it, we experience it, and we'll let it go. Or as my teacher said, we feel it, we experience it, and we send it on its way. So after we realize our reference points, it's important not to get angry at them. Like I was told this I was very emotional the second day of my retreat, and I just told him, like, I feel like I've wasted 30 years of my life really in my practice. And she's like, oh, you're so wrong, that's your ego. And I just love her for it. But the point is that not to get stuck with it and not to fight whatever may have happened to us in the past. That's just what life is. And she told me that the trauma that she had actually made her a lot stronger, and it just was a very important chapter of her life. So that's another point that I wanted to make. I hope this video was useful. I hope it will enable you on your spiritual path and life in general. All right, till next time.